Welcome back to the War Room here at Prep Baseball. I'm your host, Shooter Hunt, joined by, as always, the great Dr. David Seifert. Today we have on an ultra special guest because we're coming off the 24th annual Prep Baseball Super 60. We're going to be breaking it down all day. We had to bring in the big gun, the guy who started, the OG, the president of Prep Baseball, Sean Duncan, here to talk some Super 60 action. Dunk, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I almost swallowed my tongue when I got a late text from you to jump on your podcast. You know, long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm just thrilled to be on here. So thank you for inviting me.
Well, the best part about the Super 60, right? We talked about it last week going into things we're looking for, how to scout it, is seeing you there and knowing like you were there year one. Each year it's, death taxes, Dunk's sitting right there with the bullpen. We're getting after it. Like we have more glitz and glamours. There's more bells and whistles, right? TrackMan. But in the end, it's all about the players. And that's what you and I always talk about.
Yeah. And that's really what we tell the players. It's like, this is for you to show what you could do. And in early February, you're not going to be what you are in June or whatever, but everybody knows it's early February, but it's a first early look to get in. But I can say, while the players have always been good over the course of 24 years, they're just built a little bit differently here. I mean, as you can see from all the metrics and exit velocities and running times and, positional arm strength, but they're a different breed these days. But at the end of the day, they're all baseball players.
And you talk about the different breed aspect of it, and that was the biggest thing of this year. And the one huge takeaway from me, I'm locked into all these players, right? I have so much history on it. The floor was higher than ever before. And we'll see what happens with the ceiling as we head towards the draft and what happens with it. But the players are at a different level. I said last week going in, I thought every record would be broken, and nearly everyone was. Here's some data for you from the event, just from the pitching side. Landon Brown tied the all-time velo record at 97.7. Hudson Devon, Daniel Kellis both entered the top 10 max exit velo or max fastball velo, 96.2, 96.1. David Hinojosa entered the top 15. He was at 95.8. Alex Weingardner broke the all-time 60-yard dash time at 6.24. Will Yao had the fourth fastest at 6.3, and I think he slipped a little bit. He was first kid we've ever seen disappointed with the 6.3, right, Doug?
Yeah, he ran it. He ran it again. He may have ran it too soon. Sometimes you need to.
He needed to get back on time, but there were 16 sub 6.6 times, 6 sub 6.5. Caden Matizak and Jace Matazinski were each 96 miles across in the infield. Alex Weingardner and Luke Williams each touched 100 from the outfield. Matthew Kelly tossed a 99 across from the outfield. Devin Diaz, Mickey Gilligan, and Carson Sheffer were all 87 from the crouch with absolute chooches. Colin Bland recorded the second highest hit ball all time at 111.2. Dom Santarelli, Dommy Barrels recorded the fourth hardest hit at 110.1. Brock Rain recorded the fifth hardest hit ball at 109.6. Brock Rain also hit the furthest ball of all time at 430 feet. It really was incredible. Taj Marchand, Alex Weingardner each entered the top 15 all time with max exit velocities of 107.9, 107.5. I'm going on and on because it was incredible. And then the pitching side, Pierce Quinn at 2590 RPM spin rate average, fifth highest all time. Hayes Holton measured 2536 average, 10th highest. There's just metrics out. It's incredible what these
metrics
guys
upon metrics upon metrics.
So
now, I wish we had TrackMan units going during some of the olden days, because Seif, help me out. The Indiana kid, two-way guy, was the National College Player of the Year as a two-way player at Kentucky. Reed.
The big slugger, first base. From Terre Haute.
From Terre Haute. Yeah.
Well, Seif, let me ask you about the event, just your overall feeling, right? You don't know these guys. You step in. What was your vibe walking away from distance?
Walking away, just what you said. Just I didn't know all the records. I mean, I knew the 60 was a record. Obviously, that's easy. And I knew the pitcher velocity 97.7. I had a flashback there. I was like, oh, yeah, the Muhammad Seymour kid broke it, right? Was it 2 years ago, or tied it then? So I knew those two. But to know all of those that you just list off, placed in the top 5 or top 10 or 15 of all time, that just makes it even more incredible. But I said this before, it seems like every 3 years there's just a change in body types of the guys that come. And now that's evolving throughout the sport. But I think that also just shows the type of athlete that we continually get at a even higher level. It's twofold, but just walk away super impressed once again.
And Doug, not only that, I want to ask you because right, the old school, right, running the 60, the times, like those are all great, but the investment in those advanced analytics, because these athletes are getting so good at what were the old school metrics, right? This guy runs a 6. Hey, we had 16 guys run 6.60s, but going beyond to those 10-yard splits, getting the jumps, that is so important for the scouting community. I think a lot of the guys who are at the forefront of pushing the analytics forward, they're like well versed in it, but it's kind of getting in the mainstream. What was the importance of that for you with the athleticism?
Yeah, I mean, the 60, for all intents and purposes, is not that impactful of a measurement, right? Like you're not running a 60 yards. So, we knew that we needed to, like, how explosive an athlete is, right? Like that's like, and so, we got deep into the jumps and a lot of the RSI and all of that. And, I'm going to venture to say I haven't dug into the force deck data yet, but like, it's not just about speed, right? It's about explosiveness. And, someone like Sean Dunlap, I would bet is probably the best athlete there as a catcher, just an overall explosive athlete. And it's not just about run time. So, because it's the quick, how to measure quick twitch.
Well, let's start with those guys at the top and jump into the players. We go position players first so we can cruise through this, right? All you scouts are on the road making your driving stuff. You want to listen along. But we have those All-Americans in attendance, right? Sean Dunlap and Dom Santarelli, which for me, they did what they had to do, right? And I think that's what the scouting community was going to see. Like these guys came, they showed out, they reaffirmed where they were at. Dunlap goes I think it was 6.498 on the 60, right? The catchers run first. They're supposed to like warm up the act, right? Yeah. And this kid goes 6.49 as a catcher. And I'm watching like, dude, you're ruining it. These poor outfielders are going to run 6.55s and feel slow. Don't tell me what you saw with Sean Dunlap, and then I'll get with you, Sipe, because I thought he did a great job. It was a changed up swing a little bit. He narrowed stuff down, got more athletic. The impact's still there. And then you loved him behind the dish.
I mean, not to get over my skis on anything, but like I cannot remember another catcher who receives like that, who gets out of the chute like that. I mean, he put, one of our social guys did a super slow-mo ball, like where it just dropped the glove down right at the base. He was, and just catching guys and how he blocks. I might go on a limb and say he might have been the best defensive catcher that I've ever seen at this single event. And that, with Henry Davis and Tucker Barnhart and some of those guys, Tucker Barnhart is another Indiana boy, Sipe was it 2008 maybe or 10, I can't remember.
Browns for the year.
Yeah, it is special defensively. And I know high school catchers don't go that high typically, but there has been a handful that has gone that high in recent history. I mean, I thought he was by far the best position player there, bar none.
And he's our highest ranked guy. So Sipe, tell me, because you're coming into this, and I always send you in blind. Although you wanted a couple little notes, I gave you some stuff we were looking at. What did you have in Dunlap?
Coming in, I just seen him was it the All-American game? I believe he was there. I'd just seen him from afar in the video, and super impressive. But yeah, everything he was supposed to be, he was. I mean, that's what answered for me. Some of these guys were more than we thought they were, and some of these guys were maybe a little bit less. But that's just the nature of the beast, right? But for Dunlap, he was exactly what we thought. I did not know he was a 6'4", 960 guy. Like I had no idea. So I mean, just with that, he's a 5-tool catcher. So like, how many 5-tool catchers are there ever? I'm not going to throw any names out there, but that's what he is.
I started thinking, like, okay, who are catcher? Real Muto was a high school guy, 4th round, becomes a big time name. And I'm talking Sipe with our internal stuff, with all these analytics we've been talking about with the athleticism. Like, there were great guys. Sean Dunlap tests out way above everybody. like it's Sean Dunlap, and we'll get to Weingardner in a second. He's even above Weingardner, which is saying a lot about what he can bring. Probably can play anywhere on the field. Huge metrics. I thought the swing looked great. We've seen some guys like that go out and tinker, right? Max Clark came and showed at the Super 60 a little mixed up swing, or a changed up swing, which helped catapult him to the 3rd overall pick. Dunlap looked good. I think he's definitely in that supplemental range, more so because of positionality. He's got a chance to go out. We'll talk about his teammate here in a second, but I thought it was a really good catching crop, especially defensively. The throwing, where maybe last year I thought left a bit. We needed more out of the catching. So to have these guys come and show out, and I think Carson Sheffer kind of set the tone. I think he was the first guy to go, and I'm just trying to get stuff set, and I just see a throw go off on the bag at 85, and I was like, bless you, Carson Sheffer. You're just the best. Such a great kid. I'm looking forward to him. California product. Let's go over real quick to Santarelli, because I want to get the All-Americans out because they did such a great job. He was another guy. He did what he had to do. Ran a 6.7, look okay. It was less drift of the swing. There was a little push to the front side at the All-American game. He had consciously worked to quiet the head down. I thought he did a good job with that. It's so effortless off the barrel with like 110. What did you have, Dunk?
I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, it's just simple strength, and there's athleticism in the hands, and obviously he runs well. I mean, it's Donkey Kong strong, right? And you just look at his legs and his forearms. But I mean, that guy's just going to continue to get better and better. But it's not just like a pull donkey swing, right? Like this guy's middle, right center, left center. So he clearly knows what his barrel's doing. I was a huge fan of Santarelli and just how he goes about his business.
Saif, what did you have? Because you watched him this summer. You've given all the stuff. Now you got to see it right up close and personal. What was your takeaway?
Oh, he was even a bigger man than I thought. I mean, this what 6'3", 225, and it's a tight 225. I mean, it's trim. But the thing that stood out for me, obviously outside of the size, is he also has bat speed, right? Mm-hmm. Usually those big, strong guys, they got some length. You can get them inside, whatever, how you ever pitch to him at the higher levels, maybe not in high school, but he's gonna be hard to pitch to because he has bat speed. And I don't know where his bat speed ranked, but it was quick. I haven't dug through all the numbers but it looks like some of the maybe top 5, top 6 bat speed numbers. If I was going to break down the metrics, it was strong. It was quick. It used all fields, like Dunk said. So yeah, super impressive guy. He should be able to hit he's not going to hit 350. Don't get me wrong, but he should be able to hit for average and power. That kind of sets himself apart.
It's an impressive job by those guys, not scared, showing up, letting all the scouts know. Both of them ran, which, like, in this day and age, some guys opt out of testing. Those guys weren't scared at all. So kudos to them for that. We'll get to talk about Chase Kiker, who's a two-way. Like, he's just my favorite baseball player. I love everything he does. He's going to dominate. Like, I think there's some guys that have higher ceilings than Chase Kiker from North Carolina who will fizzle out. And in the end, we'll just come back to center and be like, it was always Chase Kiker. So, like, shout out to him because he looked great in the bullpen. Good changeup, tossed in his knuckleball. I thought his swing worked great. I think if he gets to Clemson, they're going to have a tough time figuring out what he's got. I know, Dunk, you're shaking your head like he's our guy.
Yeah, I mean, he checked all the boxes. Might not be the most sexy physical specimen, but as you said, like, that's only good in pregame. Like, you got to play the game, and he checks the boxes. The swing is polished. There's juice. On the mound, I thought it was really, really good. Lots of feel, lots of strikes, and everything does different things. All pitches do different things. So he was super impressive.
The best thing about him, like, the guys are coming up the mound. We have like a kind of a script for them, and it's nerve-wracking, right? There's 150 scouts like right next to you. You got Sean Duncan like in your ear asking you what pitch that was. Kiker, there's no worry. Like, Chase, you're good. Yep, go do your thing. You got 4 minutes. Go. And there was no worry at all with him.
And that's why I like sitting right there on the mound, because you could hear heartbeats. You could see how fast or slow he's working, and so that's one of my favorite things. I remember back in the day when Sean Jelly, the 6'11",
shout out to Robbie Magic.
I mean, he's literally, he's wearing like kind of a winter raccoon hat, I think, and he, takes it off, gets on the mound. He's having conversations in mid delivery with me. I was like, hey, dude, you might want to just like focus here and just like throw some strikes and don't worry about me. But yeah, it's fun.
It was good stuff. Let's shift over because I put out a list. If you haven't checked it out, head over to prepbaseball.com. We got tons of content, especially coming out of the Draft HQ, PB_Draft HQ. Tons of content from the event. Be sure to check that out, along with shop.prepbaseball.com. There's some Super 60 gear on there as well. But I put out, let's start with the position players. Here are some guys, and we can discuss them on my list. So number one for me, Dom Batista, Illinois local kid, Oswego East High School. He was excellent. Taj Marchand, Alex Weingardner, Sean Dunlap, Colin Bland, Ryan Barker, Luke Williams, Dom Santorelli, Gunnar Skelton, Spencer Browning, Isaiah Gallison, and Caden Matizak were the guys for me. But let's start at the top. Coming in for me, it's different. Right there, I have so much experience with these guys. There's certain little things I'm looking for at a higher level for our draft board. I thought Dominic Batista put himself on the map as a potential second rounder. It was an outstanding showing. Checks in at 6'1", 185, taller than I thought he was. Runs a 6'5" threes, 94 from the outfield. Loved what we did with our outfield drills. The guys were huffing and puffing. They were moving around. And then exit velocity wise, the ball was banging off his bat. He was up to 108.5, and he still got probably 25 pounds to add on there. Average exit was 104.1. This guy really asserted himself. Shout out to the UIC commits. Those guys at UIC do a great job identifying talent, and we love all the Chicagoland players. But I thought Dom Batista was my number one winner from the event.
Well, I feel better about my scouting acumen if we line up because that was a name. A bunch of these names. You read about, you watch. I hadn't personally seen a lot of them, and I never heard anybody mention his name before ever. And he was like my biggest takeaway as a position player, and by far. He did everything well. He did everything easily. He repeated everything from the outfield. I know there's a reflexive eye roll when it comes to outfield defense. His feet really work, but I mean, this guy was throwing chest high strikes. Accuracy does matter. Glides around, really runs. So yeah, count me a giant fan of Batista.
Syfe, tell me what you had, because this is the first time you had him.
Yeah, he was definitely my number one as far as raising your. And I know where some of these guys are ranked, right? I know kind of like whatever, but I don't dig or whatever. But yeah, without a doubt, he raises value more than anybody. I mean, 6'5", 360. He swung it. I nicknamed him Barrels Batista, like maybe his third swing. I was like, because I think he hit like 6 balls around the screws, right? I didn't look at his hard hit rates. I haven't dug into it, but everything was hard off the barrel. I think he hit one over 400 feet, and this is a 6'1", 185 guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't think, and it's a lean 185 too. I don't know how much weight training he's done. He's certainly not physically as advanced as 75% of the other guys that were there, but super impressive. I mean, average arm right now from the outfield. It's clean. He's got a ceiling, really good ceiling for this guy. But yeah, he woke me up. Well, didn't wake me up, but he got my attention really quick.
And in contrast,
I did not sleep. This year I did not sleep.
In contrast to Batista, who was excellent with super quiet explosiveness, Taj Marchand, shortstop from South Carolina, he was outstanding. What he had to do after coming out of the summer where he's just a wiry shortstop, two-way guy, will hop on the mound, makes every play, moves well. He was a former future gamer, committed to Ole Miss. He shows up, and now he's 6'2", 200. He was the best shortstop for me, like the easiest defender, found the right spot in the glove, making throws from all angles. And then he goes up to the plate, and he's going 107.9 high, 103.3 average, 413 max distance. He really, I think, elevated himself. And it's one of those things, right? In every class, there's groupings, and you're kind of competing against the guys in your groupings. And the scouting community is watching these guys. He was one where he took himself to another level. And I thought Taj Marchand did a great job throughout, even without blazing an electric 60. What did you guys have with him?
I mean, I'm glad you brought his name up because, in regards to just actual mechanics of the swing and and all of that, there was a little bit more stuff going on there. I loved it at the plate, but there's a little bit more head movement than some of the other folks, and but from launch to contact, it's as explosive as it gets, and I was super impressed, and I'm not bothered by whatever he ran because that dude's keeps play. Yeah.
I kind of likened it to the way we had JoJo Parker last year, where JoJo wasn't like a 6'2" runner, but it was like he's the guy. He's slowing things down really well. He can hit the baseball. Now, Saif, I want to hear what you have because it is a huge stretch. There's some movement. Now, I also have the background, like excellent swing decisions. His pitch recognition are like through the roof throughout the summer. What did you have just with the mechanics of things?
I just like the violent whip. I was like, violent whippy. He attacks the baseball. He wants to hit it hard. He wants to actually murder the baseball. So combine that with his defensive skills, just as smooth. His arm is, that he's a player. But yeah, I just like the violent whip, I guess, is my brief description of his swing.
Those were the exact words I had on my card.
Good words. Good words.
So I got to keep us moving here before you guys go down the rabbit hole of that. We'd be remiss to not talk about Alex Weingardner. And coming in, we knew the athleticism, right? It was PPR future gamer a couple years back. If you left this summer, this was a PO. Like, this guy's explosive stuff on the bump. He doesn't even hit there because, hey, the athleticism is so exciting. I was not ready for the athleticism to be what it was. For a guy to run a 6.24, it was a 1.51 10-yard split. He goes 107.5 exit max, 102.5 average, 425 max distance. I have to say, and you two were out this one back in 2018 when Kellenic was banging balls off the back wall. It's hard to hit the ball 3/4 up the back wall because most guys, you have to get some downer angle to that and it's going to hit the roof. He was doing it where it wasn't getting off the ground and hitting. And it was really impressive to see that. I think he quieted things down. There was almost like a triple move throughout the summer, which was throwing him off. The ball came off the barrel at a different rate, and he is an impressive athlete. I keep watching him run the 60 on video, and it's an impressive thing to watch. What did you guys have in Weingardner?
Well, I what you didn't mention too, because I got a chance to talk to him the day before, and you look at him as he's good. He's an average body kid. You would not expect what he did athletically when you're just talking with him. It was pretty much a flawless event for that kid. When he was leaving, I said, you could go back to Jersey with a big smile on your face because he dropped the mic on every single thing that he did. Offensively, to me, it was super simple and explosive. And as you mentioned, he was just backspinning line drives, middle, all day long. And he was awesome from the outfield,
100 miles an hour.
Yeah. He could not have had a better event, period. You could not have done anything more.
Saif, what was your first look like? I don't even know it's the Jersey kids. Last year you loved the kid that went down to Alabama now.
Is he a hallway guy? Is Weingardner a hallway guy?
He is a hallway guy. He's a hallway hitter, though.
I like him even more now. But, he had me at his when he fast shuffled his 6.24, 60 or whatever it was. Okay. He did it easy. It was more of a shuffle than a sprint, I thought. But, so he's an 80-plus runner in the 60, right? And his stride should transfer to the game. It wasn't the long, majestic stride that doesn't really transfer, home to first or whatever. But then he 60 or better arm, right? 100 miles, 98 to 100 is usually 60, 65 range. And he has present average big league raw power. And he has bat speed. And he's a medium build guy, like Duncan said. So, there's projection there. You could probably project his power, his raw power, 65, 70 if you wanted to. But I thought he had some of the event's best bat speed. And again, I haven't seen the numbers, but just looking at it, it was loose. It was there.
It probably was. We're looking at hand speed 24.9 max, bat speed 82.2. Yeah.
Yeah. He could not have had a better day.
Let me ask you this about him, because he's also 94 on the bump, mid-90s fastball with crazy metrics, big slider. How does that help him with regards to the draft? Does that alleviate some risk of, okay, this right profile outfielder, 5-tool potential guy, but we also know, like, if we don't like the direction of this, like, this could be an explosive arm. Would that maybe push him into, the later day one type stuff?
It could, but I mean, like, he's a hitter, right? With those tools, put him in center field, let him run around with that bat speed and nice swing. I didn't see anything major flaws in his swing, right? So no, I think his tools, you don't find tools like that. Those are definitely first round, second round tools.
Colin Bland was a guy who came in, and he and Santarelli hit back-to-back purposely in that group to just see them next to each other. Kind of similar profiles going in. Vanderbilt recruit, 6'2", 250. I really like the swing. Obviously, 111 exit velocity. It was, the power is what you're betting on. 426 max distance. I also found up close, he's still a baby. Like, he's still got so much more to come, and I think he'll tap into some more power. What did you guys have? Because the first base profile is always very difficult to work with in high school.
I mean, you neglected to mention that, before the event, he was in the parking lot squatting semi-trucks. I've never seen legs like that before in my entire life. Like, those are the biggest tree trunk of legs. So if he's still a baby, then he's going to have a hard time finding dress pants when he's a man.
Well, when you're playing at the big leagues, you just go get it tailored. You get somebody that comes right in. He's going to be
fair enough. I mean, there's not a lot of effort in the swing, and the ball just explodes off the bat, as you said, with all the metrics. I mean, it's left-handed and it's Donkey Kong strong, like I said with Santarelli.
What do you got, Scythe?
Yeah, I'm really just left-handed power. I mean, it's plus pop. It might even be more. I mean, keep in mind, a college player who hits at 110 with an aluminum bat, average translation to big league power is 110 miles per hour. Okay. This guy was hitting it over 111 with wood. So, say it's present 60, it's at least present 60 major league power, which legit, that's hard to find. And it's from the left side. So that is his game. He's going to have to hit, right? Like, good player, got a high ceiling. Obviously, he didn't run or throw all that well, but I mean, the bat is his tool, and he's going to thump it.
Scythe, very similar to Miles Bailey, who is now at Florida State, who is definitely on some lists for you guys. Mm-hmm. It's one of those where, hey, because they're facing so many good guys, because these young players are getting so good so fast, the ability to scout a first baseman is becoming a bit easier. So shout out to Colin Bland for coming and putting on a show as well. Now kind of moving to some shortstops. Ryan Barker was a kid from Arizona who I really like. I'm curious, Scythe, to hear about what you had on Ryan Barker, because I was not ready for him to run a 6.48, or I think it was 6.46. And he was solid at shortstop. I think he's more of a versatile infielder. I think that 6.46 stuff can go to center field. I like the swing. Bat on ball, barrels throughout. I think he's still got probably 30, 40 pounds to tack on. What did you have on Barker? Just your first look at him.
Yeah, pretty low effort, 60 at 6.46. A bit length to his swing, but decent bat speed. I'm not sure his farthest bolt or whatever, but then he threw nice and easy, 82, 87. So, it's a near average. It's an average arm right now across the infield. So a very well-rounded player with ceiling.
He slows things down, and interestingly, he was a 2-to-1 walk to strikeout guy last year in high school on a team that's loaded with prospects. He'll get plenty of looks this year. Dunk, what did you have with Barker?
Everything that Scythe said. I mean, he across the board, he was really good, and offensively, he's got some thumps. So, where he plays positionally, I mean, what they are in high school, they might not be in what they are at the next level, but he was super solid across the board.
All right, I'm going to give you a bunch of guys here, so I'm going to rip it off real quick, and then I want you to pick somebody out from it that you want to chat about. Luke Williams had a big day, metric darling, hunter from the outfield. He's a big-time runner. It goes shortstop, outfield. I like the ground force at the plate, really real concentrated two-handed finish. Kind of looked like me, and he was committed in the past to Virginia. this was the Virginia types. I put in like, this is a college second, third rounder that goes to Virginia under Coach Mack. We'll see what happens with Mississippi State. He's headed to Vanderbilt, kind of along those lines. Probably more of another versatile defender along those lines. Gunnar Skelton, I love his swing. He's another guy, right. Not sure he's going to play. Probably more third base. He's got the arm strength. I think he's going to really hit. Everything was super compact. He showed the ability to lift the baseball. We had some great interviews. That was the best interview I had. He was incredible, which I think will go a long way for him. Thought Spencer Browning from Texas did a great job, right? Did what he had to. Came, looked the part at shortstop, took nice, crisp, professional BP, goes 6'5" in the 60. And then Isaiah Gallison. I'm always looking for those undersized or the new 6'4". I love Isaiah Gallison's swing. I think he's going to really hit. He's got some it factor. He was actually coming in saying, I've been really working on my defense. I think the scouts said that I was not a good defender. He looked great. Like I was like, you look fine. Your arm looks good. Probably more of an offensive second baseman if we would really, really press it forward. But he looked fine at shortstop. Those are 4 at the top. What did you guys have even picking out just one of those guys to talk about? Don't go with you first.
I mean, I'll start with Luke Williams. I haven't tracked the metrics, but I thought he was one of the had maybe the best bat speed there or darn near the top, and just really loose and twitchy and, evidenced by his run and his throw and everything. So he jumped out at me, not knowing a lot about him going into the event. So he was definitely one of my favorites.
Sype, what about you?
Yeah, for me, Skelton's defense stood out, but of those 4 you mentioned, Luke Williams stood out for me. I think he stood out for the scouts too, because tell me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he hurt last summer and then he only DH'd this fall? So I know there were a lot of scouts, at least the ones I talked to, they were there. They were there to see all their guys, but specifically Luke Williams, just because there were not too many good looks with him last summer, even in the fall when I think he just DH'd in the fall. But I mean, 80 runner, 65, 70 arm, twitchy, athletic. And I like violent swings. I know you kind of get an extra head movement when you get too violent, what have you. But he had violence to his swing, and it's not the prettiest swing, but it was good enough, and it was violent. He intended to hurt the baseball, and I really like seeing that in hitters. So
I love it. Like right the initial, you start kind of going to the first principles of it, and hey, this isn't like my number one swing. Like, right, those lefties who are loose, who are super easy to see, but staying on it, like, no, this has a chance to work. I kind of like it. And he's kind of similar to Luke Dickerson from a couple of years ago, Jersey kid, where is he going to play shortstop, center field? He kind of move over, super athletic, but a right guy. He's got a chance to continue to grow, I think, especially when you guys talk about those metrics. What about Caden Matizak? What did you have on Caden Matizak, Indiana kid who is actually high school teammates with Sean Dunlap? I really liked him. I know Cooper Trinkle's been pushing him for a while. Our guy does such a great job in Indiana and the Midwest, doing all of our stuff. I talk to him daily, and I thought talking to some of the scouts in attendance too, they didn't really know who he was, and he was like the one guy like, oh, this has been a pleasant surprise to see him. What did you have?
Yeah, he was one of my kind of sleepers in the sense that, I mean, it's a long, slender frame. It's a loose swing. There's a little bit of length. There's a little length. He's around the ball a little bit. I'm just trying to get pickier, but like just the long, slender frame and the athleticism, he has a huge future. And we come to the event, we see some of these guys that are just jacked now and huge now. They're men. Yeah, he was not that. He's going to grow into that frame and he's going to become a man. But he's just call him a late bloomer, late mature, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, very, very impressive. They're all somewhat of a bit of surprise for me, but he was like definitely circle him as a longer term guy.
Yeah, Duncan, what about you?
I mean, he graded out really well across the board, and like I said, didn't have much. Never heard his name before, to be honest with you. So with the bat speed, the feet really work, just really, really smooth. And I had him and this other, the other player that I had kind of identified as like a sleeper was the Ben Klugich. Thank you. Okay, I thought I was going to put. I mean, the way that kid moved was just when he ran. I thought like his feet weren't even hitting the ground. It just kind of glided through, and he really swung it for me from the left side. And so those two names were like, who are these guys? And they're really, really good, and a really a lot of projection left in there from athletically, the frame, and there's lots of room to put on more muscle and get stronger.
Yeah, Kulich is one of those where we've followed him for 4 years because like this kid's a freak. Like it's just an absolute specimen athlete. He also pitches kind of similar to Weingardner. Like he's the Wisconsin version of Weingardner. But I thought he also had a lot of barrels throughout that BP round. Even like Jaden Parker was kind of similar to Matizak. Similar frame. He's going to Indiana. Like he's super young for the class. There's a bunch of good stuff. Saif, any other sleepers for you or guys that like I didn't list, right? This is who I had. I'm putting my list out there public. Who do you have?
I don't know if he's a sleeper for you, but the two guys that I circled really were Del Angel.
Okay.
Anthony Del Angel. I mean, 6'5", confident up there, just confident swinging the box. Like I don't know if his best ball was 106.
Another great interview.
I mean, he didn't throw all that well or whatever, but he ran confident in the box. I'd like to swing a lot. And then
I'm going to crush you on that. Break down the swing because I've been saying it for 2 years because he was an All-American last year. He was hurt during the summer or in the late spring. It's such a unique setup, and it's something you like really have to hone in on. And how does he get to the launch? Where is he at? Tell me about the mechanics of his swing that you are breaking down.
On the mechanics, I didn't think it was totally unorthodox, but this is what I wrote down. 103.5, 105.9, 104, 105, 105.4, 104, 106. Like that was his first round. So then I was like, okay, well, no, like every ball he hit, I think was over 103 in his first round. So that caught my attention because I know in my early days, I got into scouting after I'd coached, right? When you're a coach, you're teaching, hey, mechanically, we got to do this. You got to be perfect mechanics, right? Like, so he didn't have perfect mechanics, but what I've learned as a scout is they don't all do it the same, right? Like he can do it his way. He's barreling every ball. So something is good, like let him alone, let him do his thing. And so now when I teach, now when I coach or whatever, it's kind of a mix of like, hey, you got to have good mechanics, but if you're doing it your way, let's roll with it. So he stood out. I'm sorry, I'm not really breaking down a swing for him. I'm not trying to get around it. It's just like it freaking worked for him. So let's roll because it was loud and everything was on the barrel.
That's why we're doing this right now. And the thing I'll say is defensively, his arm didn't play. It wasn't there, but he had bone chips last year. He's just coming back, which is why going to his wonderful prep baseball profile, you go hop in. Oh, at the All-American game 2 years ago when he was healthy, he was 95 from the outfield. The arm strength is there. He's just coming back from that injury, getting things to play right now. So, like, that's something to follow moving forward. But, Saif, I'm glad that you got to see that stuff. He is a specimen up close, too. It's impressive.
And then also, I like Keaton Neal an awful lot, too. There's just a lot to like. He's long and lanky. He's got projection around 6'7". I know it's slow for the Super 60, but that's still moving pretty good, right? Good whip. Good whip was, I think, he 103, 104 was one of his better ones I had circled from just what I was getting there, popping up on the screen after each swing. And defensively, defensively, that was where he was best. It was a 60 arm, great hands. I put him as like a 55 defender. That was the highest grade I gave for defense. My 55, I'm pretty conservative at times, as you guys know, but I thought he was, at least what I was watching, he was the best defender for the infield portion.
Hey, here's a full play. I whiffed on him. I missed his BP round. I must have missed him while I was trying to get guys infield. But Dunk, you had him on there too, and you weren't alone. I talked to some guys who were like, they were pleasantly surprised at what Keaton Neal showcased.
He was loose and he put a lot of barrels, and he was overall really solid.
Hopped on the mound, did his thing. We'll talk about some pitching. Kind of similar frame to Drew Dickerson from a couple years ago, Oklahoma kid. Just like kind of that type of athleticism. Any other guys that we did not? Now, I'd be remiss to not say this. Like all these guys were dudes. The floor was as high as we've ever had at this incredible event where we could talk about each guy. Right? I got my list right here. I could go down each one, give my note. We're not going to do that here because we have to keep things entertaining enough. So be sure to check out the website. Tons of articles coming out. Any other last position players before we shift over to the pitchers?
I know we're only 35 minutes in, but I'm 54 years old, so I forget. But did we talk about Brock Rain early?
Yeah. We shouted out his mammo power. He was and Saif, he was the one guy where I was on the side and I was I was
You
trying to
didn't
get
see
somebody
how
at the
it's like-
track man's attention, trying to figure out
3
how
kids.
far are these balls going, because he was hitting them so high and far.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure we gave him. Yeah, man, he was impressive as well.
Dunk, anybody else from yours before we kind of shift over?
No, I think we hit most of them. So
I do say, like, the Luke Tucker and Easton Couture were in a group, like two lefties that just had nice solid swings. Like, I'm excited to watch them this spring. I know that I got to watch them this summer, so it was one of those, like, okay, I like what these guys have, what they're bringing. I mean, I like all these guys, but let's turn the page to the pitching, which was such a quick transition. So shout out to the guys that were there. We went from all that stuff right into drop the wall, tight, intimate setting, dunk right next to the bullpen. Here we go. I thought at the top now, Prep Baseball All-American Tyson Golkowski was kind of the premier guy. He and Colin White, the big left-hander from Georgia, really set the tone for us. Golkowski, 6'5", 225. Saif, I don't know if you got to get next to him. He was big at the All-American game. He is an absolute Paul Bunyan type. I think, like, I was asking, do the Badgers need like a left guard who can just absolutely move, or a tight end? Kind of looked like the JJ Watt, but 4 pitches, advanced stuff. I think he's going to have a huge spring. I didn't think it was pinpoint command of the fastball that he has had in the past, but quick bullpen showing. It's low, super low slot, excellent mover with a hoppy fastball. He's going to have metrics. I think this is just a start for him. What did you have in Golkowski? Because this is the first time you got to see him close up.
And number one, what's going on in Muskego, Wisconsin? I thought that was snowmobile land, and they got a pitcher throwing low 90s and a sleeper hitter in Kuglish. But anyway.
And good catcher.
Golkowski, I mean, if you say he usually has pinpoint command from that low slot, that's nasty, right? But that was kind of one thing I put down. I was like, the control wasn't kind of it wasn't all over the place, certainly, but it was the low slot, right? It's going to be hard to throw more strikes like that because the ball moves so much. But I liked him a lot. I mean, got the low, the riding fastball from the lower slot. The super high spin slider had good shape to it, and they had really good feel for a changeup. So I always look, when I'm looking at pitching, you're looking at the body, you're looking at how things work or whatever. But I'm starting to, now we got all the data out there, I start to look at, like, how much can they vary their RPM? How much can they vary their spin? He was going from over almost 2,900, maybe over 2,900 on a slider. To his changeup was in the low 1,800s. So anytime you get in that 1,000 or plus 1,000 differential, you've definitely got my attention, right? It's kind of like you got that 3,000 RPM spinner, you got my attention. He got it because he could add and subtract spin, and that's pretty impressive. Not only velocity, but spin.
I'm buying stock. Dunk, what about Colin White going to the lefties? Every year when we're putting together the list, I'm always trying to find lefties, because if there's not some good lefties at this event, you're going to let me have it. Like, where are all the lefties? Where are all these guys? And Colin White, who kind of had been banged up throughout the summer, had a good fall. He's 6'3", 205, and almost looks bigger in person. Like,
I was going to say that seems way small to like. I think he's
ball game on the line. We got to get another measurement on this kid, but he comes out. He's up to 94.4 in the event, 26.33 spin rate. Florida recruit. Let me just give you the stats so you can kind of reel. He was 93, 94.4, 25.45. Changeup, 86, 87, good pitch. Slider, 78 to 81, 26, 29, 17.2 horizontal. I think that has a chance to be a wipeout pitch in the future. We'll see what happens this spring. But he also threw strikes. Dunk, what do you have on big Colin White?
I mean, the last word that you said is what really jumped out at me. Strikes, right? Like, so 3 pitches, a big lefty. It's heavy with some sink, and he filled up the zone. And I was sitting next to a national guy who's been to the Super 60 for a really long time, and we were just talking about, I think there were more strikes, and I'm a big strike guy. I think most people are. I really don't care about velocity all that much.
Oh, you do. Come on.
No, velocity means nothing if it's not around the zone. And he filled it up. He's a durable body. I mean, it was really, really good. Now, with that said, like, I didn't think that I was not wowed by a lot of secondary. by any of the pitchers. Yeah, there was a lot of velocity.
Yeah.
There were strikes, but wasn't that like holy crap, secondary that I saw throughout the day.
For me, Hinojosa was probably one, and maybe he didn't show it every pitch, but I thought Hinojosa's breaking ball was probably had the potential to be the best off secondary pitch of anybody there. So
it's super short, and it always is. When he opts out there, he rips that sucker off, and he has some of my favorite Hinojosa single innings where if you catch him in that one inning, he's going to embarrass three guys, and it'll happen in a hurry, and it makes for great videos for me when getting those strikeouts. But the third guy I had, and kind of the big three for me, was Landon Brown, and big Texan coming down from the Houston area, 6'3", 215. A guy, I'm even looking back in August of 2023, we're watching him with the Wildcatters, throw some bullpen action. He also can swing it. Good athlete, committed to Mississippi State, comes to the future games. He was banged up last year, so didn't really get the circuit as much. He comes out, and obviously everything's bigger in Texas. He's up to 97.7. He averaged 95.8, 1891 RPM average on the fastball. Some crazy horizontal action, which he's able to contrast with the big slider. I actually have seen him spin it even better than what he showed at the Super 60, right? We're just in a showcase setting, and still had some shape, has a chance to be wipeout. I think it will be. What did you guys have on Landon Brown? Because he can also swing it. He's a really good athlete. I think there's a lot of upside there.
Well, I didn't know that he was that good of an athlete. So the fact that he's that, makes him that much more impressive because he's certainly a monster on the mound. He's big. You mentioned the velocity. He had some really good. He had some good secondary pitches too. So his slider, he was top of the list of all those arms as well.
He's triple digits. That guy's gonna throw 100.
Yeah.
Oh, easily. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys like?
For me, he showed 4 pitches. I don't know if he was throwing a cutter, if he had a slider and maybe not a curveball, if it was cutter slider, but I had 2 different breaking pitches. I like the cutter the best, if that's what it was, at 89 miles per hour. That was pretty hairy. And they showed pretty good feel for the changeup too. It's got to develop like everything else, but there's definitely feel for 4 different pitches there, and above average athlete. I thought of all the pitchers, he not only had the highest velocity, he has the highest ceiling as well.
It's impressive praise from the great Dr. Seif there. We talked about Hinojosa, who, again, I've seen him for 3 years. I really liked him 2 years ago when he was uncommitted, continues to do his thing. He was super confident, poly prep kid. He put the Jersey teams on notice because they're going to have some border battles going on throughout the spring that I'll be following. What about Connor Finn? What do you guys have on Connor Finn? Again, easy, loose left-hander. He's 6'3", 6'4", from the state of Minnesota, which, shoot, these Minnesota arms were all bringing it pretty good, actually, at this event. What do you guys have on Connor Finn?
Finn, tall, loose, 3/4 slot lefty. Fastball had some giddy up to it, 92, 95. I thought there's limited feel on his changeup. It spun really similar to his fastball, so maybe it was a 4-seam changeup. But I thought that was the pitch that's kind of furthest away from his development. But the slider was solid, 80 miles per hour, a little flat, but he had feel for it. So I think you have makings of 3 potential average pitches, but he's going to lead with his fastball. But a ton of projection there. And where is he signed to go?
He's a Texas Tech commit from Minnesota. It's not quite as strong a left-handed crop as it was the last year, which he starts boosting himself into a mix of tier 2 type guys. Dunk, what you have? Because good lefties are always fun to have.
I can't add anything more than what Dr.
I concur, Doctor. Do you concur?
I do. I concur with the good doctor.
It's funny because some years, and this was a while back now, some years when it was really Duncan and I writing a lot of the stuff after the Super 60, Duncan would be like, hey, I like this guy, and here's some notes. I'm kind of looking like, okay, I like that guy. What are you looking at there, Duncan? He's probably doing the same with my notes. But this year, Duncan and I are lockstep on every one of these guys, it seems like. So we were watching with the same set of eyes. Which I
remember it was Kendall Diggs that I loved, and you were like, no. And I was like, what don't you like about that?
I started liking him later that summer. I think when I was at a showcase in Kansas City, he took one off the chin at third base.
Yeah.
And he bled for about 10 minutes and came right back in 10 minutes later. And it was like 99 degrees in Kansas City in July. So Diggs eventually won me over. But yeah, Duncan, we are locked in here. That's pretty impressive.
You know what? This is a great time to mention that it only takes one team to really like you. And that's something for all you prospects out there where we're talking about this. It takes one team to really like you and open up that checkbook and toss it over there. What about Hudson Devon? First guy to go. And I told him, I said, hey, you're going first to set the tone. This is what Indiana does. Dunk, I'm going to go to you because I know you're a huge fan. 6'4", 197. He was up to 97. It's maybe a little stabby, but I thought he landed the slider pretty well. Like it was a firmer slider. I actually think he'll probably go to a sinker more often than not. But what did you have, Dunk? Because I know you were a fan of his.
I guess I love Indiana arms. I feel like I identify who was the kid that was going to Purdue a couple of years ago that ended up being
Bishop Letson was a big name.
It was like that kind of wiry, loose frame. I just loved the way he moved down the mound, and he was so athletic, and the arm really works. But I thought his secondary needs a lot of fine tuning, but just the frame and the way and the athleticism, the way the arm worked. I really liked him.
I think I spoke too soon.
Uh-oh.
Man, I should have just saved it. I should have just saved it for off the air because of all the guys there. Now, I like Hinojosa's breaking ball the most, right? I think that is probably going to be the most elite secondary pitch of all these guys. But for me, Hudson had like 3 legitimate pitches that will all be above average in time. I thought all 3 of his pitches were advanced across the board. I mean, he was up to 96. I know he did have that slight stab. I agree with you. Generally don't like the slight stab, but it was he got it up and it was quick. He had good direction. It was downhill. So I didn't have a problem with his delivery. I can overlook that arm action if he's pumping in the zone, right?
And he's a super athlete, comes from an athletic family. I will say that. He's going to have to change some profile action on the fastball. And I think he can do it though. So Cy, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I just like the curveball, 80 miles per hour, 2,500 spin. I like the shape of it. He had a really good feel for the changeup. He subtracted spin, had some good fade on it. And I'm not sure if we can say the combination of a slider and a cutter, what that term is these days. If we can keep that off this podcast. But he even threw a couple of those. I don't know if it was by design or not. So there was like a 4th pitch that was usable 4th pitch. I just thought he had a really good feel. He may have 4 50 or better pitches down the road.
Can I make a disclaimer to all pitching coaches and players out there? Just with your fastball, like the 4-seam and sinker, just like throw them. We don't need to classify them so differently. The TrackMan will do that, right? The data will show that you have 2 different pitches. Like just throw a fastball, let the catcher know it's their job to catch it. So that's one thing I'll throw out there. But how about all these guys like the cutter, sweeper, slider? We're going triphasic spin pitches at this point.
There's even more names out there to even micro it down even more.
I will say death ball. I love death ball. Like it's my favorite term now because it really does describe things that I'm looking at, which I had difficulty in the past. So now I know death ball. Like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. I could put it in my notes. But I will also toss out Colton Semmelman was a lefty. 3 pitches for strikes, like the way he moved. Another Wisconsin product. Tyner Flint, Mississippi, not super big, still like baby-faced, but I thought he had some clean movement patterns as a left-handed arm. I want to toss out these 2 names to you guys because I guess they're on my list. Like you can check it out on the site if with the story coming out. These were probably the sleepers for me where like you're trying to find those guys, right? We all do it. Like this guy's has a shot. Caleb Cox was a small town Illinois guy who the fastball just pumped out, not at the level of what I thought of Brandon Shannon last year, who came in late. And I was like, this fastball, I love this guy. Still needs to polish up a lot of stuff. He's committed to Northern Illinois, but he's got a shot almost like Mizorowski. Like it was long limbs, hops out of the hand. And then Mason Henry, who was all of 6'8", from the state of Utah. There was some funky, he hid the ball. It was steep angle. I think he was up to, let me see real quick, 94.3. He was one where if he's throwing 98 in 2 years and he's got this funk and he can kind of get that death ball to work, like this guy could make a huge jump. So those were like my 2 outlier picks. What did you have?
Hey, I'm glad you brought them up because I would have hijacked this and brought up both those names. With Cox, I mean, his wingspan is like almost 6'11", according to his agent. And when he texted it to me before the event, and then I saw him walk up on the mound, he could scratch his ankles standing up. And he was handshaking the catcher, and he's really athletic. His dad played pro ball. Northern Illinois, got a really, really good one there. And he's going to be really, really good because he's really athletic.
Yep.
And with Mr. Henry from Utah, they build them differently in Utah. Remember that outfielder like 3 years ago is the biggest physical specimen in there. He was like that, 6'8", and you hit it on the head because I was sitting right there. He pins the ball against his thigh. Like I don't know if he's doing that purposely.
It was funky.
He was taught that, but I'm just imagining if I'm a hitter in the box, you can't see the ball until he's because it's from his thigh right up to the sky, and he gets down the mound from the 16th floor, and it comes out heavy, and it's going to be an uncomfortable bat for anybody. And I didn't have a whole lot on a secondary, and because I was just watching him move. And
he also hits. He's also a hitter.
He looks athletic.
At 6'8", it's a monster. A curveball 2403. Fastball is up to 93.7. Just looking at the shapes, be sure to check out those Prep Baseball profiles. Keep scrolling down. Click on the TrackMan pitching. So he also went curveball, slider, safe. We just said those 2. Who are some other guys that you had listed? Like this was a circle. I liked how this guy moved.
Well, Semmelman definitely was one of those. So just one note there. When I talk about a big RPM range on his pitches, he could spin it and subtract it. I mean, his changeup was 1,1300 and his breaking ball is 27-28. So, I mean, that's a huge range. And to back up about 5 minutes, Caleb Cox, right? Like we just talked about Caleb. To say he's from a small town Illinois shooter, you need to spend some time with me. He's from our state's capital. So, he's consider that.
Oh, right. Lincoln Land. How did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Small school.
Yes, I'll give you that. Yes. It's a Lutheran school in Springfield. Yes.
Good save, Shooter. Good save.
Yeah. Good work. Did we talk about Pierce Quinn?
We did not, but I know Dunk likes him, and I thought he had a great, and it was later on in the event. He can spin it. Go ahead. I got too much background.
Yeah, no, Pierce Quinn really stood out for me too. I'm thinking John Carroll. So I'm thinking John Carroll, Fort Wayne, Indiana. No, John Carroll from Maryland. So not that he's less of a player. I thought he's more of a Midwest kid. But clean and loose delivery. Spun at his fastball's in the 26, 2700s. Curveball's in the 2900s. Good shape. Then he subtracted well with his changeup too, and then flashed a slider. I mean, what wasn't there like? Good delivery, really good direction. A lot to like with Quinn.
Saif, I told Shooter about he was one of my favorite arms, and then I felt bad about myself for bringing it up because we didn't align on that, but I had exactly the same thing. And his fastball, it had so much run on it that there was a catcher that I think is still icing his thumb because he was trying to catch it this way, and it was not.
It wasn't working.
Yeah. So, but he was one of the few guys that I thought really had command of 3 pitches, and he moved easy, wide shoulders, filled up the zone, threw some. His breaking ball had some downer action on it. He was one of my big favorite. Complete pitchers. And
it's when we go through the script, right? We always talk about the jukebox. Keep the jukebox rolling with the pitching, because when you see so many righties in a row, they can start to stack up. Pierce Quinn was in there because I knew how much his spin metrics were. So I was I know what he can do, but just going off his stuff from the Super 60, 90 and 94, 2655 RPM max, 2591 average. He was up to 20.1 IVB. 9.8 horizontal, 29.33 spin rate on the curveball. The shapes are all great. And then, like, to Sipe, to your point of differential with the RPM, then the changeup, where he was killing spin, 1637 max, but he was a 1490 average on that. We're looking for starter profiles, right? What is the industry paying for? Can you start? How many innings can you throw for us in a season? We need to pay for that. So shout out to Pierce Quinn for coming and doing a nice job late. Any other arms that you guys want to shout out? I know, like, for me, Daniel Kellis was just like heavy bowling balls. And I spent like a fair amount of time with him throughout. He's a guy going back the last couple of years we're following, committed to Wake Forest now. And even the breaking ball dunk you brought up, like, hey, there was shape to that. And he was going to break thumbs. Talk about guys going to break thumbs at probably triple digits. It's some big stuff.
I just wrote, like, this kid's is going to throw 100 in fairly short order. He was one of them. I really liked him. He's a big dude on the mound. It's straight downhill, bowling balls. And did he mix in a splitter in there? Did you have?
Oh yeah.
See, Sife, you have the TrackMan cheat sheet right in front of you when you're sitting behind there. I'm sitting there, so I didn't have the luxury of matching up differentials. But
Duncan was a 90-mile-an-hour splitter at that too.
Yeah, I tripled plus one of his splitters. It was like straight down, but I liked him. It kind of reminded me of a more controlled Joe Boyle back in the day with more strikes. So
it's like, what you have on Kellis?
I still, he was the old school sinker slider guy, right? Like, the Kevin Browns and those type of guys. And but that's what he was to me. I didn't realize the split was that good. I trust. Three pitches.
There was one pitch.
Love it.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have the temperament of Kevin Brown.
Sipe, guess where we've seen him before?
Oh man,
in the hallway.
Oh, he's another Jersey guy, huh? All right.
Yeah, he's a PA guy, but he's on the border.
He moves up the list based on where he trains. There we go.
Sipe, we're gonna have to bring you to the hallway just to go tour BPC.
I need to get out to yes. I need to find a series up there when it's warm. When is warm up there, Shooter? When is warm up in June?
Actually, here in Oregon, it's very warm. But
one other arm that we didn't talk about that I really liked. He was the last guy to throw. Hayes Holton.
Sipe was checked out. So please,
no, I was not. I'll give you all my notes right now just to prove it.
Yeah.
Downhill, quick arm. I put a B on him.
Mover, like, he moved really, really well. I liked him. I think he's going to be really good too.
Well, there you go. You still got it, Dunk. You may be in the C-suite, but you can still get down there and get some ink under your nails.
Hey, from the first pitcher to last pitcher, let's go.
Just that's well, I love it. I know you're gonna get it. There was one point where I was like, I'm trying to figure a couple things out. I'm like missing, like, I get that FOMO. I was like, it's all good. Dunk's got this lock. Sipes on lock.
You know what the key to the event is? Like, I know we ran it with precision execution, and it finished early. We got out of there, all of that. The key to it all was the DJ. The DJ kept, and he mixed it up, and so I was like bopping my head the entire event, mixed in some rap and some yacht rock, and it's key to keeping you locked in.
I found myself, going to the beat there a little bit too. I didn't want to embarrass myself, so I shut it down as soon as I realized what I was doing. So yeah,
you weren't alone. I was scanning around. There were a fair amount of people doing the same thing. I actually caught Kyle Coletta singing in a couple songs, which he's probably very embarrassed about. But the 24th annual Super 60, another great event. Incredible players, prospects. Thank you to all the scouts who were in attendance. It was great to see everybody before heading out onto the road in all those travels. Anything else before we part here? I know, Dunk, I really appreciate you coming on because I know your time is very valuable. I'm going to be inspecting those cards behind you. They look awesome. But anything else you want to add to the 24th annual Super 60?
Not really. I'm just really grateful that I got an invitation to come on the War Room because like I feel like you'll invite anybody but me. So I've been doing this a long time. So if you Syfe, bring me back. You know like we could chop it up for like
You know what?
Because like when Syfe was an area guy and a cross checker, that's how he came to be here. He saved my butt on a couple guys, and I would feed him a lot of information. So
we might have to do a reoccurring segment now. We're gonna bring you in the each seed draft board comes out, and for you to be like, why is this guy so high? Why is this guy here? We'll just have a quick 10-minute session.
Just call him. Why do we have this guy here? So yeah. Sure, you have some PTSD from that, Shooter.
Syfe, anything else for you on the Super 60?
No, it's just always way more fun when the Godfather's on the show with us. So yeah, I think we'll bring him back. What do you think, Shooter?
You know what? I need to get ahead on things. We might think a little tenue action going. So you guys start feeding me stuff from the tournaments there you get going to throughout the spring.
He doesn't play travel yet. I'm still teaching him the love of the game. So we'll get there. Now, the Godfather has a 10-year-old that can thump it. So
he's got an absolute cannon. So I will be following him. Get him on the track, man. But this has been awesome. Excellent show. I'm already looking forward to the 25th annual. We're on to 2027. Get ready for that next year. Thank you to everybody that was in attendance. Looking forward to the rest of the spring. I know I'm heading down to Florida. Syfe's got college stuff about to come. Dunk's going to be on for some segments to grill us on all the stuff we got. But until next time, this has been another episode of The War Room, and we will see each and every one of you at the ballpark.